We're not.
Just facilitate.
Yeah, I can point you the right direction. I am not.
I think we have something power, and really, we got this spot.
I'm glad they know
We couldn't even
we
move out.
can help you get to where you go. Even if we can't do it, we can.
Exactly.
We'll usher them on.
I'm gonna go like this mic.
All right, team. Okay. All right. Hello and welcome to our first meeting of 2025. Love the packed house we have. Do we have something crazy going on?
Not that I know.
No? Okay, this is delightful. All right, excellent. Let's go ahead. We will, what? Oh, goodness. That's what consumed. All right, let's go ahead and stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. What I thought was going to be a light evening, maybe just turned into something quite a bit. So let's go ahead and get started to see how this night unfolds. So with that, let's just go ahead and get into City Work Department. So we have Officer Martin here from the City Police Department. We've got a few of the representatives. By all means, please lead us off.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. I haven't seen you guys since last year. Okay, so we had 2 auto thefts. One was a person left their car running while they were getting gas. So let's not do that. So don't want to take their car. And then we had another Kia Hyundai issue, and those are actually decreasing because people are getting whatever it is that Hyundai and Kia do to fix the cars. We had 2 biddies actually. One was from a friend and the other one was a storage unit. So nothing to be alarmed about that. And then also package thefts. So I know I talked about this before. If you're gonna have your packages delivered and you're gonna be gone for a long period of time, maybe from work or vacation, I don't know, maybe you have a neighbor or have your packages sent to a different address or a PO box so no one will see your packages sitting on your porch and take them for themselves and give them away as if they're theirs. But other than that, we don't have any other major issues. And also we had somebody steal some shovels off of people's porches. So let's not leave the shovels, I don't know. I guess they wanted the shovel too. So I don't have anything else unless you guys have questions for me. And then we have Lieutenant here, she has to talk about some camera things. So I'll leave it to her.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Lieutenant Mitch Jennifer, and I am assigned as the project manager for a new initiative we have, which is the Fusus Connect program. This is a program that will allow us to virtually integrate with any video management system. And there's a couple different levels to it. I'm just going to give you a very brief overview about it tonight. There's handouts here, and there's a website, www.connectcincinnati.org, that I've handwritten at the top of the handout for you to go and get additional information. As you can imagine, when we have incidents that happen, if there's car break-ins or if there's an unfortunate event of a shooting or something like that, detectives will canvass the neighborhood looking for cameras. We may go door to door. If we see your Ring camera, we may knock on your door. This will allow you to register those cameras for us and then show us that you have one. So it eliminates that need to knock on your door at 3 o'clock in the morning will have your registration. We'll send you a link that says, hey, we're looking at a series of car break-ins that happen between 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Can you check your camera system? If you have something, here's a link. Please send the video, and it will go right into our evidence vault. That is one level. We also have integrated levels that will probably be more interesting to business owners. The local gas station may want to integrate with us and allow us to access parking lot video if we have the need to do so. So there are different levels. Registration is free. There's no cost. Everything is permission-based. If you go in the system, it will say, how many cameras do you have? Do you want to share any of those cameras? Do you just want us to know that you have them, and we'll reach out if we need something? So there's varying levels. One other interesting thing that I like to bring up about this program is it also has a good asset for schools, and hopefully we'll be integrating with schools, where if there's an incident inside a school, a teacher can virtually push a panic button in the app on their phone and give responding officers an exact location in the school where to go. It could also serve with 911 and dispatch. If somebody needs help providing first aid, allowing their phone to become a camera where they could be talked through CPR, those sorts of things. There's a lot of different ways to use this system. We are just now implementing. Hamilton County also has partnered with Fusus as well. So we're hoping to all work together to try to save time, get evidence faster, and help solve some of these crimes. Any questions? I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, I can share my contact information and we can follow up.
Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Next up, do we have fire engine representatives? Fire department. No. Okay, Pleasant Ridge Recreation Center, Emma Bobo, you are up.
All right, how's everyone doing today? All right. So, my name is Kendall Bobo. I'm one of the community center directors here at Pleasant Ridge Recreation Center, and this is our agenda. So, we don't have much to talk about. So, we have our summer day count, open registration February 8th. The fee for the whole summer is $2,100, and it'll go from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And it starts June 2nd and ends August 8th. This upcoming Monday, the day after Super Bowl, mini count. So Cincinnati Public Schools, they're out of school. So we'll host a mini count. The fee will be $45, and we'll keep the kids from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we'll have tons of activities for them to do. We'll make sure they do some arts and crafts. They'll also compete in a football obstacle course as well. They're all set up. So it'll be some fun. So hopefully you bring out your kids and tell them, and just tell someone who may need childcare for that day. Do you have any questions by any chance? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kendall. Okay, next up is the Pleasant Ridge Branch Library. Branch
Library.
Branch
That's
Library,
right.
okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer. I'm the manager of the Pleasant Ridge Branch Library. It's just up the street. A lot of what we have going on, we've got program calendars over there. It's on the back of one of the handouts in the neighborhood calendar, but I wanted to highlight a few things. This Saturday at Drake Park, we're doing a birding walk. So this is definitely birding for beginners. You're just curious, like, what are these little birds hopping around my backyard? Join us at Drake Park at 2:30. We're going to be at the shelter all the way in the back. The walk we're doing is on a fully paved trail. It's fully accessible. We're going to have binoculars for folks to share, so you don't have to bring anything. Everybody's okay. Let's see. We have on February 19th, after school, we're doing an art like Alma Thomas. Alma is a landscape artist. Beautiful art. So this is for kids. But, you know, if you have a kid and you want to come and make some art too, that's cool. And then just a few other, on March 8th, we're going to do a backyard horticulture. You want to do some vegetable gardening or herb gardening. in your yard, in a pot, in a container, on your porch. Come to the branch, learn all about that. We'll probably have some seeds to give away. We'll learn from each other. Just a couple other things to highlight. The library, the big library system partners with United Way to offer free tax prep for qualifying people. The Pleasant Ridge Library is not one of those sites, but Reading and Madisonville are. If you or you know somebody who is interested, they can just call 211. They can call United Way and schedule an appointment for that. That starts in February or runs through late March. Yeah, and there's handouts over there for that. And that's all I've got tonight. So, all right, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's see. I am up next as far as committee reports. Okay. So yes, I feel I'm trying to regroup my brain from the last 2 months of both transitions on my end, personally and professionally, along with what we've been receiving as far as the council goes. So I'll start with the thing that came out this Sunday, this weekend, but I will be stepping down as community council president. It is more or less out of necessity in the sense that I have taken a new position in the city. I am now, I don't know if it's my dream job, but it's my dreams merging together in a delightful way, but I'm now the manager of education for Cincinnati Parks. And so I get to hang out at all of our nature centers and oversee our naturalists and expand and modernize a lot of our programming for all of our youth across the city, and expand to adult use programming too. So excited for that. However, as I learned in my orientation, being on the executive board with fiduciary responsibilities as a functioning 501c3 that does business with the city, I have to act in the best interest of the board, which means pursuing any and all resources, which for community councils, we're talking like 60, 70, maybe even 80% of all of our resources actively come from the city. And so it can be perceived as a conflict of interest. We have an inside track on soliciting these resources. And so with that, the solicitor's office suggested that I step aside, and I'm going to be in line with that. So I do not want to compromise the council or the neighborhood's ability to get the primary source of our funding and structure. I'll be a champion on the side, and by our bylaws, I can serve as an ex officio exec member. I just cannot vote. So this will be my last full meeting. And we will be working on transition with the appointment of Jeff, the vice president, to this position. And later in this evening, we will open up for an open call of nominations to assume the vice president position. So more on that in a bit. Okay, but I'll try to keep my notes short and sweet because they're short and scribbled everywhere. But basically, we've been, even though it has been 2 months since we've actually met, things have been ferocious on our end as far as keeping up with things. And then the winter storm happened, and then do we shovel our sidewalk again took place. And so I tried to write a fairly firm but pleasant reiteration of city ordinances and the paltry $25 fine that comes with not following said ordinances. But I did receive comments, complaints, compliments, suggestions, and so forth regarding how we as a neighborhood should respond in such an event. Obviously, I don't know the last time we all witnessed snow staying on the ground for a solid month, let alone a lot of that turning into solid ice. But I and some of the Pleasant Ridge Runners group went out and pickaxed our way through about a quarter of the business district sidewalk. I hope I didn't leave too many indents into the actual concrete doing so, but thank you for all of those who did show up. I want to give a shout out to some of the businesses, most notably our Gaslight Cafe for serving food for volunteers who ran unshoveled. But it is city ordinance to actually clear your sidewalks. So invest in a sturdy snow shovel or snow plow or whatever you need to. But a lot of kids struggle to get to school. A lot of people who have walking impairments really struggle to get around. Particularly as people shoveled out driveways and then further impeded the walkways as well. So we do try to make sure that we are looking out for neighbors. I have an elderly couple next to me, and so I go the extra distance to clear their sidewalk as well. But I grew up in New England. I'm used to this. Shovel early and often so that you're not bearing the brunt of it at the end of the event. So anyway, I'm going to reiterate that for all of you fancy people watching online, for you too. A few things, and I'm probably going to defer to other members on the board along with our respective council or committees from a lot of events, but I feel like I've just been putting a lot of commentary on a lot of things and helping guide other people. For instance, we had a whole back and forth about pursuing a grant for planters to serve as bollard barriers. I'll let Pleasant Streets go into that however you want. I feel like you're on a very loaded section. I think I'll probably actually just keep things that are coming up in the future. So for instance, tomorrow, Jeff and I will be attending the CPS Superintendent Breakfast Luncheon, which is an invitation to all the community council presidents. As the transition, I'm going to bring them along. They're trying to get a better pulse on all the different councils and how they can tap into partnerships with their respective schools. Obviously, another big thing that happened in our community was a traffic incident that involved a child outside of Pleasant Ridge Montessori. That sparked a very interesting conversation / debate on our end about traffic projects. We can get a bit more into that later on, but basically it's better prompted us, I would say, to make sure that we are inviting all of the stakeholders around Pleasant Ridge Montessori about how we want to do a more thoughtful, intentional approach to essentially traffic calming. Right across the way, you're going to have 100+ some odd unit, 82. It's going to feel like more than that, looks like more than that. So we're going to get a lot more variation in data as far as traffic patterns and behavior when that comes online. So we don't want to make any hasty decisions to be reactionary to this incident. I want to be prompt, and I want to encourage the board and how they move forward with that. But we know that there's going to be a lot of different issues, and that was a non-speeding incident. So we have to do a much more comprehensive look as far as the options of attention grabbing along with traffic calming and speed reduction.
And we're told the child was not hurt.
Correct. Non-injury,
Oh, okay.
unhurt, but still that is a point of data that we never want to collect.
Correct.
But now we have to use it as something to, again, approach the city and also kind of the state, since it is a state highway, about how to move forward with that. A few more things. We do have another opportunity to solicit funding from the city for 2 target roads due on February 28th. We want to see what projects, so I'm going to let Pleasant Streets also lead that, guide that as well. We've done a lot of solicitations, both from the city and from other sources about potential funding. Some have already passed that we brought up in conversation. I reiterated this once, and I would love to put out again. We would love to have someone step up to serve as a resources committee to try to help keep track of the different potential resources and funding that we can pursue. You don't need to have experience in this. We're not looking for a seasoned grant writer or development officer, but we want someone that can help at least keep track of and better direct and orchestrate funding sources that we can pursue these projects. Because all of our committees right now are really interested in topics and trying to ideate, and then we are letting resources fall through the cracks. We're doing our best, but we could really use help from someone that can help us organize, keep track, and direct those resources. There's plenty out there. We could be doing a lot more in our community. It's quite with the resources that are really being presented to us. It's just the sheer bandwidth of who is signed up for what. We really need that kind of administrative type of support. I'll just include a couple. One come from the AARP. One is from the Cincinnati Catholic Social Action Office. 2 branches came out of the city Office of Sustainability, focused on the Green Cincinnati Plan, along with youth catalyzation. The City Department calming for the end of the month. A few others as well. I'll stop there. There's a lot. Councilmember Anna Albee has requested to come to next meeting, and I've extended an invitation to do so. I don't know if they just want to attend or if they want to present all the way that Mark Jeffries did a few meetings ago, but that invitation is out there. Of course, I'm getting long-winded. On the 15th, if anyone is interested, as you know, Connected Communities was made a city ordinance, but did not pass without concerns and objections. Vice Mayor, name just went away, Kearney, yeah, is holding a 3-hour event from noon to 3 p.m. on the 15th at the Hamilton County Community Action Agency. It's called Making Connected Communities Better. It is open to the public. I would like to get a sense of who we could send on behalf of the council. They're putting together 5 different working groups to focus on the target areas within the Connected Communities Ordinance. That includes accessibility, environment, affordable housing, infrastructure, and neighborhood look and feel. So if you want to have input on how Connected Communities evolves across those 5 working groups, we would love to be able to send you along. We just need to let them know who is interested in that. Okay, so I do also want to preface with the PRM incident. We did, our Pleasant Streets team did reach out, and we have gotten responses to let the city council know that 2 members, Vice Mayor Kearney and Council Member Nolan, did respond to us. If you want to go further into that, you can, but we have, at least they know, and there's activity behind that. Let's see. Douglas Terrace, I might give that to you. Yeah, okay. I'll see what else team see during that time. Is our quiet zone, Abigail here? Okay, all right, hi. I'll give you the 2 minutes during that time, so make sure you're here. Same communications. Okay, my throat is dry. I'm going to stop. All right, thank you. Here's Jeff.
Good evening, everybody. It's great to see such an awesome turnout on the first of the year, first meeting of the year at least. I've kind of got a lot, but I'm going to go really fast and then be ready to answer questions. Does that sound good for everybody? Awesome. Is Jason Shanley here? If you are, oh, he just walked in. So we'll get to him. I'm not going to cover his portion. So Jason is the president of PRDC, which is Pleasant Ridge Development Corporation. He's going to make a short presentation about who they are, what they're up to shortly. Pleasant Ridge Development Corporation, Pleasant Ridge Community Council, which is this, and Pleasant Ridge Business Association are all different organizations within Pleasant Ridge. And what we're trying to do is continue to build our relationship so we can work with some bit of synergy to seeing our community continue to grow in all the ways we want it to grow. So with that, I've been reporting on things that I have from PRDC. This is fun. Hope it's not that. PRDC is one that I reported on. Business Association are having their first meeting of the year tomorrow, so I don't have anything to share from them. I do want to reiterate though that the Pleasant Ridge Business Association it's open to anyone and everyone who owns or operates a business in Pleasant Ridge, even if it's an online/virtual business. It's open to anyone, and they like to work together on some pretty cool things in our community, like the shop hop that they did, where different vendors are in different venues. So you're able to go to Nine Giant and see your friends there and also shop at a local vendor during Christmas time. So they do those kind of events, among other things. The 3 organizations are working together, and what we talked about in December and actually voted on publicly was adding an additional $1,000 to the $2,000 that the exec team was able to commit. And with $3,000 from each organization, we have applied for and the application didn't cost us, so hear me right, for a grant with the city called the Neighborhood Catalytic Capital Investment Program, NCCIP. Lots of letters tonight. But in that, we've committed $3,000 from each of those organizations towards a new community plan with a urban developer, a total of which will be $75,000. So what we've done is say, we'll put $9,000 all together on the line. Will you give us $64,000 additional dollars in order for us to have that third-party urban development team to come through? That's a lot of money, and we don't have it. None of us have it all together. But what that does is actually it makes it so that we can get a new community plan that matches where the community's at. The current plan is from 2016, and a lot has changed. I mean, we had a pandemic halfway in between there that shook the world apart. So, and now it's all coming back together, and we got new things happening, and we want the plan to match what's happening. The estimated response is by the end of this month. That got pushed out from the end of the year. So next steps, if approved, will be that once funding is secured, we would begin the process of developing a community plan with a third-party urban planning organization, which includes local sessions where they're hearing what you want from the community, not just what the council leaders and organizational leaders are saying. Does that make sense? All right, it's a lot of stuff. We also reported, yeah, it's cool. It's progress, it's development, it's the future of the community. The next thing is Douglas Terrace closure. We reported on this a bit in November and December, primarily December. It has practically, but not officially, been deemed permanent by Department of Transportation and Engineering, which is, it's so convoluted. I'll just be honest. With preliminary plans already mocked up that did not fit the 25-26 budget. So the Department of Transportation was already planning on building this out, but it did not fit within the budget they had for this coming year's work. So what we had done and what we reported to you is we're leaning into the Department of Community and Economic Development, more letters, DCED, about using funds that are available to our community specifically. They're already sitting in a purse available to Pleasant Ridge to actually have that built out sooner rather than later, because this has already been a semi-permanent closure for 5 years. It's something our community's been working on for 10 years. So we would like to have the current eyesore taken care of as soon as possible and in a safe way for the community. So we're still working on that, and it'll move to a design. It's currently kind of in a design and budget phase before it comes to this meeting to start garnering community approval for the process. Any questions there? Awesome. Another thing that I've shared reports on that I don't believe I was able to update in December, Woodford Academy is not moving or changing entirely next year. It will still operate as it is this year, outside of the fact that it will not be considered a magnet school anymore, which means there will not be busing to Woodford Academy. What was being talked about is the changing of some of the district lines, adding some more middle schools and junior highs to our school district. And in that, Woodford Academy was going to get blended into Silverton and become a new Montessori middle school. Lots of the community uprising convinced the school board to give Woodford Academy another chance next year, but it will depend on their enrollment. One of the reasons why we feel like this is important to Pleasant Ridge, or at least I do, I mean, my son goes there for one, but they offer both autistic services and hearing impaired services for K through 5th. And we think that those things are vital to not just Pleasant Ridge, but the surrounding communities that also feed into Pleasant Ridge Montessori. So that's a big win for us. The district has not been the best, and I'm trying to say this in the nicest way possible, at highlighting that as an option for Pleasant Ridge families. People move into renters often, and even people like me who bought a house will move into the neighborhood, and all you know is PRN because that's highlighted and it's talked about. Woodford Academy is a very good alternative. My son has come alive academically by going to a more traditional model because it works for him. Montessori doesn't work for everyone. So I wanted to make sure that I brought up the fact that that's actually a possibility here. If you have somebody who needs those services in your family or in your circles of connections, or Montessori doesn't feel like it's working for you, give Woodford a try. What they've been talking about is they have magic that goes on in their school. I agree. So LSDMC you're addressing, and the one other thing that we wanted to bring up, he did bring up the fact that there's a grant for kind of like green spaces, climate and youth available from the city. But what we've talked about before, and it was brought up again recently, is we would actually like a youth committee. A youth committee in a community council like this would actually be run by the youth. So this would be high school age. Once you're 18, you get a vote. So it's basically 14 or 15 through 17. It would be student-led with an adult facilitator to basically play the in-between, but it's actually student-led. So this isn't something we're asking an adult to build per se, but if you have high school age people in your life, you could begin talking to them about it. I'm sure that they could get some extracurricular brownie points for their college applications. I mean, community leadership is a pretty big deal. I'm pretty sure you know what kind of school you're going to. They would love to see that on your resume. That would be it for me.
Number 3 over here, I'm number 3. I actually don't have a ton to say. Just see the calendar, it should be over there. It's also on the website. So if you're ever wondering, what am I gonna do this evening? Check the calendar, there may be something going on in the neighborhood. It's a great way to meet friends and learn things. Otherwise, just as a kind of a side note, personal note, I work in the geriatric health care space. And this last week, I became so proud of Pleasant Ridge. I had a elderly Pleasant Ridge resident come to me and lives alone and drove themselves to the hospital, but the neighbors noticed they weren't there, and you all bent over backwards to make sure this person was okay and not laying on the floor somewhere in their house. So just huge brownie points. I was so proud when we learned that. So thanks for that, and keep an eye on your elderly neighbors.
Hi everyone, I see a lot of new faces, so I want to reintroduce myself. My name is Jessie Frank, I'm the treasurer for PRCC. So with this being the first meeting of 2025, wanted to wrap up a couple things that were open as of the end of last year from our last meeting in December. The first one being our Luminaria event was still in process as of our last meeting. And very proud to say we raised $3,600 from that community fundraiser. So a couple $100 more than what we did in 2023. And specifically would want to clap for Jeff Cerrone, who is the volunteer who leads that for us. So thank you so much, Jeff, if you're watching. But yes, we're very excited about that because that money can help us with our volunteer programming this year. Additionally, and I'm glad Ruth Ann is here, every year, the Community Council, one of our biggest funding sources is a grant from the city called NSP, or Neighborhood Support Program. If you've been here before, you know I talk about this nearly every meeting, but it is one of the largest funding sources that we have. And being through the city, a lot of paperwork, it's very strict and regimented, but Ruth Ann is wonderful and helps us with that as our NSP manager, and we work together. It was, it's a very large tracking initiative to pull this together. So the money that we got from the city last year was $7,400. And we have to report on it throughout the year as we're spending the money on the programs that were approved by the community early last year for that money. And putting together a final report took us 5 hours to do. And I'm very happy to say they received it and we've got no comments back. So I'm very happy that that's done. But for last year, $7,400, and I don't think I've told any of you this, but we did get word on what the grant opportunity is for this year, and it's $10,000, which is the most I've ever seen. And looking back since 2022, and I started jumping on here, this is the largest we've had, which is amazing because what the grant does is it reimburses us for city-approved programming, and all of our committees do programming that fits within the boundaries of what the city's looking for. So we get even more money expensed back to us to use for the community. So very excited to see 10,000 come in. Really exciting for next year. Additionally with that, looking into 2025, we are going to continue to support all of our existing programming led by our volunteer committees. So safety camera program, beautification pots and downtown maintenance, Pleasant Streets radars, communications, if you've gotten the wonderful emails, the website, all those things we're going to continue supporting this year. And of course, very excited about our Ridge Day fundraiser. Amazing. That is our other very large source of funding. So thank you so much to that committee for always being wonderful and fundraising for us, as well as our Luminaria will come back in the winter time of next year. So new changes this year, like I just said, NSP increased 10,000, very exciting. We also did set aside a new investment. If you have been here for past meetings, you've heard us talk about our gateway programs. So our gateways, the whole of Pleasant Ridge is split into 4 different gateways. Those people will talk later, but one thing that we're doing new for this year to help revitalize the program even more is infuse some funding of $2,000 in total for the gateways, so $500 each. This is new funding that's coming in to have more hyper-localized initiatives in each of the gateways. So we want to put money towards more specifically the parts of your community where you live. We do a lot of things for the entire community, but we're putting money closer to the hands of people in the specific areas. So we're excited to see what comes out of that. That just came out a couple weeks ago, so I don't think our gateway leaders have too many plans on that yet, but you'll hear more about that as we go throughout the year. All right. And so the last couple things, next steps for 2025, I am responsible for all of the compliance tasks for the committee. So it is tax season. I do have to submit all of our tax documentation to the IRS and the charitable registration to the Ohio Attorney General. I'm gonna get working on this month, so by our March meeting, I'll be able to give you updates on that, but I expect it to be completed by then. And like I said, the $10,000 for NSP, to come up with the programs that we expense through that, it is a community conversation, so we'll start talking about that this month, and in the March and April meetings, we'll discuss the projects that we might want to put up for funding, what's going to have the best chance of getting a grant, and we'll vote and approve on those as a community. So you will hear a lot about NSP, a lot. $10,000 is a bunch of money. It does so much for this community. We take it very seriously to get this grant and put it towards the community. All right, all good with me?
Thank you. Yay. Yes, the supporting our gateways has been a target initiative of ours for quite some time. And I want to, case in point, I believe gateways could have served a pivotal role in trying to help conjure up people to shovel out during the event. Like that's the kind of hyper localized specific actions that I want to see take place. Again, we have a tool called Cincy 311 to document and picture and report to the city and get its issues connected to the appropriate office as soon as possible. And we don't want to have to be, the executive board should not have to serve as that kind of on the ground, if you will, conduit. We can, but that takes us away from the larger vision of where we want to help bring the neighborhood. And so that's where we really want to empower that type of also interest in people who are like, I want to help out, but I'm super busy and I can't do that. Right? You have your gateway to attend to as well. And those are not defined by size. Anybody can help corral, and we still need to help fill out the orchard segment as well. The others do have leads currently. Okay, that's the last one I want to say on that. So I want to give more time to Jason. So I want to just get through this appointment process, not appointment process, but kind of walk through how this works. So this is per Article 7 and then 3C about how we go about filling the remainder of terms. And so the president and vice president are on a cycle, and then the secretary and treasurer on a different cycle. Our positions cycles terminate in May of 2026. So the appointment would be for the remainder of that time. So basically a year and a few months. We as an executive board are going to move to have Jeff be appointed to the president position. That is also not to say that is exclusionary of anyone else. Per bylaws, it is open up if any people want to be considered for nomination, but the nomination process for appointment is a majority vote on the executive board and then a majority vote for the next public meeting. And so tonight we are opening solicitations for nominations for appointment to the vice president position. If anyone is interested, we are opening the floor now. You can just announce your name. We'll write down the name. If you can approach us afterwards, we'll get your contact information. But basically, we'll then have to vet, do a bit of a vetting process, and that way we will then vote during our next executive meeting on who it is that we would like to appoint. But then that vote needs to be confirmed at the March meeting. So both what would be assumedly Jeff's appointment to president, and then whoever is going to be appointed to the vice president position needs to be confirmed by a majority vote at the March meeting. So basically, I will walk into March as president, and I will leave a free man. So, no, I know, but I just had to get it in there somewhere. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor to anyone who would like to nominate appointment either themselves or someone that is of interest. This is for the vice president position.
Is there any possibility Bill Frost would fill in for that time period?
Bill Frost is so done. He's so done. He's not looking for a 3P. He's not looking for a 3P. But Bill, I will say, Bill has been taking time away, but also every now and then throws us resources. So he still has his fingerprints all over this place. Yeah.
I just thought maybe you could get them finished out, at least this period that you're trying to fill in.
No, he's really enjoying retirement right now.
Somebody else has to.
Yeah. Anyone for themselves or another?
Don't all volunteer at once.
We're a
I'm gonna-
super fun group.
I was
We're so fun.
I was the vice president for a bit. It is probably the most cush position on the executive board. By cush, I mean easy. So, but there's no real like direct responsibility. But you step up as much. It's what you make on. It's what you make of it. All right. Well, I have a couple of people in mind that I think I will reach out to that I think would make a strong suitor for the position. Again, they can either accept or decline. I would ask that if anybody does want to step up, including you, virtual world, or have an idea, you reach out to us before our next executive meeting, which is in 2 weeks' time. So that is basically our window to solicit nominations for appointment.
Specific date is
Tuesday.
Monday.
It is Monday. Today's
Monday the 17th.
17th, President's Day, right?
Wednesday, yes.
Yeah.
We'll figure out for on the birthday. Okay. All right. That was underwhelming. Let's go ahead. Jason, we want to give you, typically we cap at 10 minutes, which includes any Q&A. So, yep, do it to it.
Please.
Great, I'll be quick. Good evening, everyone. Jason Shanley, longtime resident of Pleasant Ridge, 08. So, past 15 years, I think. We get a little medal or something. I'm the president of the Pleasant Ridge Development Corporation. The Pleasant Ridge Development Corporation, for those who don't know, we are a independent 501c3 nonprofit with a charter to, I think our words in our charter actually say revitalize. Our district over the last 10 to 15 years is fairly vitalized, but there's still plenty more to do, and so we continue our work. But we are strictly cover the Pleasant Ridge Business District, which generally goes from the library to the school along Montgomery Road, and then a little bit each way on Ridge. We have a 7-member board, mostly of residents, occasionally business owners, stakeholders, could be property owners, landlords, etc. They are not currently, but basically people invested in one way or another in the community and in particularly the business district. We're an all volunteer board. We have no staff. We have no really source of revenue. So like I say, we roll up our sleeves and we're just scrappy. That's how we get stuff done. We are a working board. And so again, not really by statute or design, but just kind of by intentionality. We typically try to have folks, with real estate related skill sets. We have some brokers, we have some architects. I work in the real estate development industry. And then other folks that, can just kind of jump in. We've had accountants before, so just kind of skills. Again, it's a working board. And so we're not just making decisions for others or for an organization, we're kind of doing the work. And so, again, we're very lean. What we do, again, is kind of focused on real estate development. Filling in gaps in our business district, empty buildings, bringing more capital investment, business investment to our community, mixed use, commercial development, things of that nature. And really the kind of the way we do it is partnership, and that looks a lot of different ways. One, Jeff mentioned it earlier, we're close partnership with both the community council and the business association for a long time. I've considered that, I call it the three-legged stool here in kind of our local civic engagement and efforts. And then there's certainly a lot of other partners we work with, PRM before, Ruth Ann Community Happens Here, many others in the community as opportunities arise. But kind of really speaking, and again, we're very excited about the opportunity Jeff mentioned for the three of us jointly to come together kind of with a planning venture. So more to come on that. And then partnership, same idea. So in terms of projects, again, we're 7-member board volunteers. So we found that, we're not set up to self-execute. We don't self-develop. One time we owned a property for a little while. we weren't very good at it, and so we were able to move off of that in a positive way. But really partnering, so bringing in stakeholders, whether that's new or existing investors, developers, partners that can kind of come help execute on a community-led plan. And then ultimately partnering with resource providers, largely for us, that's the city of Cincinnati. So the way I think of it is, we're an agency that is directing, influencing, and really fighting for and securing citywide resources that could go anywhere that we want to bring here to bring a positive momentum here. So we're out there advocating for our community. And again, that's not just lobbying or advocating, it's really putting together a project. Hey, we've got this property, we've got this partner, we've got this use, we've got this plan, it's consistent with these neighborhood visions that have been created. Now we just need these resources to help go execute. Real estate development by nature is very long-term. Slow and steady wins the race. A lot of times people refer to our business district as a 10 or 15-year overnight success. Right? Like, things are really great right now. I've been here since 2008. Like it didn't happen overnight, but we're in a really good spot, and that creates momentum that we then get to build on in a lot of ways. So it's an exciting time. And I think also kind of for me personally, I think of this as community-led development rather than sitting back and playing defense and waiting for people to come in from the outside and sit here and pitch what they want to do, and we all sit here and kind of hold our nose like, now we gotta fight it, or we gotta figure out how to fix it. We get to lead, we get to say we're in control, and again, the we is collective. I always say I'm just one of you that stands up here and does this, like I said, just a resident. So we get to be a little more in control and pick the partners we want that we see are executing quality stuff elsewhere in the city, and bring that into our neighborhood, and then also kind of guide through to make sure execution happens as promised. So that's, I'll say we have a 7-member board. Our first board meeting of the year will be later this week. Our meeting rhythms are a bit irregular. It's something we're going to kind of work on and talk about a little bit. But like I said, we don't have things to discuss every month necessarily because our stuff takes a long time. And so, sometimes it's more we meet when there's stuff to do. And similar here, we'll have conversations about how to maybe bring more of that information on a regular basis. But again, it's tough because I can come up here every month and be like, still working on the same stuff. And then all of a sudden, like today, we got some momentum and some movement that I'll share here in a minute. So that's kind of, so beyond our 7-member board, kind of the way I've thought about it, there's through the years, people kind of come and go. Everyone's welcome to be part of PRDC. I kind of call it, active volunteers. So people will show up at our meetings and say, hey, yeah, I can help out with that. I have the skill. I know this person. Great, active. We have the 7 board seats are full. But really the only thing our board does exclusively is vote on governance issues and expenditures. So beyond that, it's like, hey, we're just out doing stuff and come join us. So the best way to get more information is our email, prdevcorp@gmail.com. It can also be sent out through communication from the council, and reach out and we'll connect and kind of say, hey, here's what we do, here's the way to get involved, here's when we're meeting this time, and go from there. So a couple updates to share. Really 3 main, we'll say, projects that we're involved in that have been for quite some time. One, the old Rich Theater, the movie theater across from the Coffee Exchange, we own. Again, we bought that in an effort to, preserve it and keep it, come up with a redevelopment plan. There is very challenging to redevelop. It's costly. It's a big building that just needs a lot of capital repair. We have a lot of interest in uses, but it is parking constrained. And if you're going to put $2 million into a building for an event center or a new theater or even a big office, office building, all ideas that people have brought to us, you're saying, hey, but I need 30, 50, 100 parking spots, and that currently is constrained. And so it's kind of becomes this catch-22. So we're always, we don't have anything set. I think in December, a guy, TJ, came and shared some ideas. So we're kind of, we shared with him, hey, we're open to your ideas, go vet some stuff, come back. And if that advances to some kind of formal agreement, it's not there yet, but we like, he's looking at it, he's interested, we'll see if he can make something work. We own the Burger King. Someday I will come here and share exciting new development plans to build buildings. And when I do that, I need you all to promise to not get mad about taking away the parking. We bought that opportunistically. Burger King closed. They actually had zoning approval to build a new building with a drive-through. And so we wanted to intervene so that White Castle or whatever, name your fast food, can come replace Burger King. Some city money came up available. We said, we don't have a plan yet, but it's opportunistic, it's defensive, and hey, in the interim, we have a great neighborhood parking lot, which it has been for several years. And I always said, I was like, the problem is someday I'm gonna build a building and I'm gonna get raked over the coal. So be gentle. Well, we understand parking's a need, we'll figure that out as part of the bigger plan. So I do have some interested developers. The Burger King lot is only about a third of that whole stretch. The rest is the Youth Land Academy building, which is owned by a landlord. And he's pretty happy with his tenant. And so he hasn't been terribly motivated to sell for a bigger development. Most of the developers who approached us want the bigger development. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. I've always said, if somebody comes with a plan that works and is really quality infill urban development at the BK site alone, we would very much entertain that. But we're not going to do something kind of short-sighted and do something, less than great just for the Burger King lot. And then 2 years later, we have the whole other lot that we've kind of eliminated a bigger opportunity. So it's a little bit of a chicken and egg there. I do have a relationship with that neighboring property owner. He's very amenable for conversation. He's very, favorable to the community. It's just more of kind of his business interests. We kind of are continuing conversation of what maybe a potential partnership win-win opportunity could look like. So stay tuned there. And then the third one, and this is kind of, again, I've been due a little bit to come here, but prompted some more tangible updates, is the building caddy corner to Goodfellas, which is white facade, 6100 Montgomery, historically at Rich Jewelers on the ground floor. So we've been working on that for about 2 years to get control of that for redevelopment. And as of last week, we closed on the property. So we now own the property. We're working actively now with the Port Authority to kind of they help us with carry these buildings, BK and the theater, and we'll add this one to a holding agreement. So they actually will own and manage the property, board it up, put up a gate over that vestibule to keep people out. And then also, I think maybe it was discussed here a couple months ago, but on our behalf, the Port Authority has won a grant from the state of Ohio for demolition for both the Burger King and that corner property. So that would kind of elimination of blight and kind of set the stage for something new. So in our business district, we have zoning. It's called an urban design overlay that is an extra rigorous approval process for any demolitions to keep us from losing good stuff. So there'll be a little bit of a process. So I expect most likely I'll come back in a month with a more formal, we'll say, community engagement / review and approval process to say, hey, here's kind of the concept, here's the plan. We want formal community support so we can go to the city with a request for demolition and go through that process. So that's to come. I wanted to kind of set the stage here for where that's headed. I will say, for those who don't know, because there's multiple properties, the property in question includes, again, it's got a white front, the old Bridge Jewelers, what I call the little shack, for lack of a better term. For one point, it was Dandy Haberdashery, for those who are here long enough. And then also the Gaslight property. So this was a package deal that now that we're in the driver's seat of all that, we are simultaneously working with Gaslight to soon transition so that they will be able to own their own property long-term and no longer be a tenant. So I think that'll be a win-win because it facilitates development, elimination of blight, and then sets Gaslight up for long-term stability. And not a business owner or investor who will continue to be in a position to benefit from the value that's been created in our community and not just be a renter. So more to come there, but that's an exciting thing. As an example of what I was talking before, and some of you may have known, like I said, we've been working on this for 2 years. We were supposed to close at the end of last year, and then we uncovered a issue related to the right-of-way, the actual legal description of the road, of Ridge Road, that took a better part of a year working with the city to fix. And so, we've been 2 to 3 months away for 12 months. But so that's why sometimes it's hard to but when there's fun stuff to come share, I'm excited to come in and give updates. So that one, and then those are my big updates. And then I also was going to chat, but I think you set the stage. I think about 2 weeks we'll hear about that grant for, again, bringing a consultant that has done kind of these community vision strategic plans elsewhere in the city to help us, pull our thoughts together and really have a unified plan, particularly around kind of strategic use of these TIF resources, which are new and newly created by the city and could be very substantial, meaningful. So we want to be strategic, coordinated in how we deploy and advocate for the use of those funds with the city of Cincinnati. I'll pause that.
Thank you, Jason. Any quick questions?
When's the next meeting this week?
We're meeting Thursday at 7:30 at Goodfellas. For those interested. Yeah, we usually just grab the upstairs room. Anything else?
Where does the capital come from to buy these properties?
It's mostly the city of Cincinnati. They have a couple different pots. They have an annual funding cycle. It's called the Neighborhood Business District Improvement Program. So we apply to funds through that. That's funded some of our projects. Sometimes we just go to the city with a big idea, and the project that became Leicester Montgomery was a carryout many years ago. The mayor was very excited about the idea there, and he just wrote us right into the capital budget and gave us a grant to buy it, tear it down, to set the stage for redevelopment. So it varies, but it's mostly the city, and again, we're kind of facilitating, directing, leading their investment into the community. And then occasionally, as we broaden our resources and our partners, again, the Port Authority has tools, they access resources elsewhere. So the demo money is actually state of Ohio funds. So more resources we can bring in, the better. I will say, I mentioned earlier, Bill, worked with Bill for a long time through the years. Bill was really great at being a squeaky wheel, and he really kind of got us, beyond just the development work, but more politically connected, and people were in City Hall were paying attention to us. And so when we come with something, that wasn't the first time they were hearing about it, and they saw us as organized and coordinated, and we could speak more loudly as we were speaking with one voice. So we look forward to continuing that as we transition through different roles.
Jason, if there are any more questions, what is the best email to contact you?
PRDev, DEV, PRDevcorp@gmail.com.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks, everybody.
To Jason's last point, the city looks very favorably on neighborhoods and communities that are well organized. The fact that we have 3 active entities, the council, the development corporation, and the business association, looks very good for us. The fact that we're now having much greater attendance at our community council meetings also speaks very good for us. And this is why I want to make sure that, if we are able to get a resources committee, it's not just to work independently, but to work in tandem and in concert with our other entities. This is also the city's way of offloading paid labor on their end by getting a whole lot of volunteers and community councils to do what some people would say they're doing, but at least we get to do it on our terms. And I do have an intermediary entity called Invest in Neighborhoods that helps guide us as well. But we have such a good structure right now, and we're trying to reaffirm the relationships between that tripod to make sure that we are all working in tandem. And right now, that effort to look back into our community development plan is central to help putting that together. So, we solicit, we get a lot of questions about properties, and we are not the best to answer. That's where an entity like the Development Corporation comes in, and that really supports us and gives us guidance in that. Okay, we are past 8, so we do have, for the rest of the evening, we have council committee reports. And then also there is, I know we have some visitors that want to ask questions or share insights or try to garner some interest. We'll do that for the 2-minute per speaker public session at the end of committee reports. We'll start with committee reports. We have safety block wash. Brandon, I did not see him here. Does anyone have any notes on his behalf? I do not. Okay, moving on. Pleasant Streets. Always a lot to talk about with our Pleasant Streets.
Go back.
I will try to be brief. Pleasant Streets is our traffic committee.
Move closer.
Pleasant Streets.
Too close.
Committee. We have a Facebook page, and we update it regularly. We are actually having a meeting next Monday night, and because a lot of our members are young parents, we do our meetings via Zoom. as opposed to meeting in person. It just makes it a lot easier for people to manage their home life. So we will be meeting at 7 o'clock. Those details are listed on the Pleasant Streets page. We have an email group as well. If you want to catch me after the meeting, I can give you some more information. I'm going to try to run through things quickly so we have enough time here. The big project that we're working on right now is the Ridge Road repaving project, which is supposed to happen this year. We met with DOTE last October. They came here and presented their plans to us. They were very different than the ones we had drawn up. Even though we knew that a lot of what we wanted we wouldn't get. So we began the negotiation process with DOTE about what they could do with the money they had allocated. And then we got thrown for a loop when the guy who's the chief engineer on the project told us that right before Thanksgiving, he was going on parental leave until March. So it's looking like a good possibility maybe that Ridge Road will not happen this year because we still have a number of things we'd like to see change between now and then, and we may not be able to make that. Other things that we're working on, we applied for a Safe Streets grant for some very heavy concrete planters outside PRM. For those of you who were here in the last year, we had a car go up and jump a curb last year and hit the sign there. We had a child hit the other day and a car ran a red light on the same day. And in both cases, both of those were around people running a light. It's kind of scary. Chances are we won't get that grant. I haven't heard anything yet. I don't know how these kinds of grants might be affected by the change of administration. I know a lot of these organizations get funding from the federal government. I haven't heard anything. But we are applying for grants where we can. One of the things we're going to finalize in our meeting on Monday, we have something we have to get to the city by the end of the month, by the 28th. I think 2 traffic calming things. We have up to 2 streets that we can do. We're going to try to finalize in our meeting what we're going to do. We have a list of things that all qualify. So I think it's just getting people who are in our meeting to give us some feedback on that. We also just finalized the fact that we're going to get another speed cushion between the library and the community happens here. That they put in the funding, the request for funding for the materials. I don't know when that's going to happen. Anytime we talk with DOTE, it's usually, we finalize something and then it can be a few months before we actually get it. It takes time. But we have a very active community. I'm very, very pleased with the number of people that we've had growing. We've been growing the group and we've been getting some really well-qualified people. We have a DOTE engineer that's been helping us. He's been a font of information about the kind of funding that's available from Ohio. A lot of that is stuff that we can't apply for. We have to go through, the City Department of Transportation and Engineering. But we have a great group of people. We have lots of opportunities. We'd love to welcome you to our meeting on next Monday night and continue the conversation. It's a very active group, post a lot on Facebook. I wish we had something other than Facebook, but we don't. So I'm sorry. But if you want to catch me after the meeting, I'll be here. Thanks.
Thanks, Barb. And for those who are new to our, if this is your first community council meeting, as we go through these committees, know that some we would like to increase our presence with and personnel such as our safety and block watch, and some have a dozen plus or so, particularly, as actions take place or as activity comes up, such as Ridge Day, and so there's a lot that can happen, even if they're not physically here at these meetings. We really try to support the committees to be independently acting, and we support them as best as we can. Going down the list, next up is our Parks Committee.
Hello, everyone. I'm Eric. All right, so what we got? Good.
Get a thumbs up from those in the back.
Can you hear me?
Well, it's also the online.
Okay.
Good.
So what we got coming up soon is I do community nature advocates events at Kennedy Heights Park usually, and then my friend Scott does volunteer events at Friends of French Park. So we have weekday and weekend opportunities to come out and help improve the forest around the neighborhood. I met my buddy Scott at Witch School what school did we attend together? Woodford. So I met my guy Scott, who we lead both volunteer groups in our area, and we both went to Woodford. So these are a great way to come out and learn about what's going on, the nature in our neighborhood. It's a good plug there for the library program. And why I need your help. Plus, when you come out, you'll learn secrets of our parks, like do you know where this natural spring at French Park is? Because there is one. You come to our events, you kind of learn where all this cool stuff is. All the registration details, because we do them through Cincinnati Parks, are in the PRCC emails. Plus, getting out there, Maureen and Denise can probably speak to this, it's a good workout. You get exercise while you're out there doing this stuff. Okay, so I'm going to start highlighting an invasive of the season. Invasive species are destroying our natural eco-environment. So right now, there's two of them, and they're standing out everywhere. They're still green. They're in your trees. If you have vines growing up your trees that are green right now, it's bad. All right. So if you want more info about why it's bad or what it is, call me. And if you're not sure, it's either English ivy or winter creeper. I will come and I will look at it and tell you, yes, this is it. This is how you get rid of it. And you can learn all about the invasives all year round at our volunteer events through me or stuff. And what is coming up soon? Spring, okay. So there's lots of signs for spring that are already here. Okay, by the time we have our next meeting, there are going to be 2 flowers that will have bloomed. They're both introduced, so they're not great, but it's not a big deal because they're not terrible. The terrible ones come at the March meeting. But so and they're out here, they're in every park, they're in everybody's yard there. These 2 are everywhere. Snowdrops and winter accolade. One's pretty and one's yellow. They're both pretty, but they don't really serve a purpose. They don't really serve a purpose for us. Okay. And then the other great sign that spring is coming is with French Park, we get a pretty special visitor. Woodcocks are in French Park, and they will return at the end of February or early March. So if you've never taken the time to actually see their courtship ritual, it's worth your time to go to French Park, sunrise or sunset. If you hang out on the trail right by the entrance parking lot, you'll hear the cheeping, and then you'll see the male fly up into the air straight up and do his little dance. So that's in our neighborhood. It's 5 minutes down the road. It's worth experiencing. What have I been doing? Why haven't I been in these meetings? Because I skipped a few. All right. So I am now a Master Gardener volunteer with OSU Extension. So your Parks Committee chair is now both a certified volunteer naturalist and Master Gardener volunteer. So I'm going to be using the Master Gardener stuff more to guide what we are doing at the Pocket Park. Me and Barb, and a community member and a former community council member, are basically the Pocket Park people. But we want you to be involved. We want you to help you steer what we're doing there. So if you want to be involved, just let me know. Because we're planning for this year. We did a lot of great things last year. We're going to keep doing more. And then, what else do we have coming? So I have been talking with CRC about the forest behind Lang Ball Field. There's a huge forest back there. It's not maintained. We want to start to restore it and put a trail back there. So I'm restarting the conversations with them after the holidays. And then also I wasn't denied by Cincinnati Parks today to explore planning a trail around Drake Park. So we're going to start working on that. We're not going to start working on it. We're going to start making a plan for a few years down the road to actually do it. Because things take time, like Jason was talking about. You start doing this stuff now and then it pays off years down the road. So that's all I got.
Just go outside.
Go outside.
Just go outside. Thank you, Eric. Yeah, quick comment. Since I've started at Parks, I want to do so much with the wooded space around, but now I feel so guilty about telling people in my department to do stuff about the parks around it. But so that's why I'm gonna lean on you to be the whisperer. I think that's the conflict of interest they were talking about. Yes, so one thing I've learned structurally speaking is that the city of Cincinnati did the exact same thing with community councils and outsourcing the labor and organization to every park. And so there's called CPACs, Community Park Advisory Councils, and the one in French Park is called Friends of French Park. And so if this doesn't float your boat, you can go to a park and have a community council style of civic active engagement leadership stuff, whatever it is you want. All right. But I would definitely defer to Eric in those conversations. He's way more knowledgeable and in tune than I am. Okay, going down the list, Bridge Day Barber.
Hi, Bridge Day has not started yet this year for planning purposes. Just today I was thinking, I probably should send an email out and see when we're gonna meet. My guess is maybe next month when we meet, I will tell you that we either just had a meeting or we're getting ready to, so. It's coming, first Saturday in August every year.
Woo!
It does take 5 months to plan the biggest party on Pleasant Ridge.
Yes, it does. Every minute of it.
All right. Communications. Technically our youngest committee, yes.
Youngest and newest, I think.
Yeah.
Hello. Couple things. Thank you. Couple things. If you are not signed up for our email newsletter, please do so. You can go to our website. It's one of the first buttons you'll see. Join our email newsletter. That's where I get out all the good information about what's going on in the neighborhood. So please sign up if you aren't already. The winter 2025 quarterly newsletter will be coming out later this month. So again, really make sure you're signed up for the newsletter. A couple other things. I have been fielding a geospatial research project, super fancy, I know. Basically trying to understand the shopping patterns of people in our community. Where are we grocery shopping? Where are we going to our favorite bar or restaurant? And I'm planning to publish that in the future newsletter. If you haven't taken the survey, if you're interested, come up to me after, I'll share the link with you. Yeah, I think that's everything. If you guys are interested in communications and would love to join us, please reach out. That's all from us. Thank you.
Great. We are now our gateways. So we'll start with Cypress. Is Chris here? I don't think I saw him. No, really see Eric. Okay. For those who know, Cypress is our western, southwestern quadrant of the neighborhood. What?
That's Cypress. Chris is, what's the name of the street?
Douglas Terrace.
Lane.
Tulane, yeah, west.
Cypress.
Cypress is the name of the gateway. Okay. Lusanville, Barb, full double duty.
We'll be on the snow next year, but nothing else.
Climate change.
There's not gonna be snow next year. We're just deciding
If there's snow
Yeah.
next year, we'll be on.
Ridge, Denise. A joyful strike. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, we are still looking for Orchard, which is the eastern side of the district, of the neighborhood. Okay, we did get a note from, oh no, the name escaped me. My names have been awful today. Gwen, yes, Gwen Roth. She is the representative for LSDMC. She did check, she's out, but she did say that the next LSDMC meeting is going to be on the 12th, Wednesday? Is that correct? Yes. Their meetings are at 3 p.m. They are open to the public and they are fully, all their spots, their 9 persons are full. The only things that really had to share was that they did get their staffing, budget for staffing submitted for the next year. That's in, they didn't have anything to say regarding the traffic incident. They are now starting to look at some reshuffling of classrooms, grade alignments, and potential programming as a result of the physical right sizing of the building. The one example that was given was the potential conversion of kindergarten classroom to a 3 to 6 Montessori classroom. So I feel like that's going to, she said there's talk of that, but I feel like as CPS continues to navigate structures and budgeting, and now that they have this real estate, they're going to, that's probably going to be a continuous process. It's a continuous process for all schools at all times anyway. So, but that's kind of where they're at right now. Our hope is to get that Vic Gwen or representative from the LCMC to come here and be more regularly as a regular committee. But LSDMCs are a standalone governing entity within CPS, so they are not, we cannot decide who we send or suggest to that.
New
Okay.
people may not know what LSD.
Oh my God, I know, right, yes. Local School Decision-Making Committee.
Pleasant Ridge Montessori, our neighborhood Montessori Elementary School. If you just moved here, you have no idea.
No,
why
when I
that's
moved here, I
important.
think that's the most ridiculous acronym I've heard, yes. But
It's so special to Cincinnati and to Cincinnati Public Schools. It has the main governing power of the school to choose some important things like the principal. So it is a very important part of how come our neighborhood could create such a fabulous Montessori elementary public neighborhood school.
Ruth Ann, you're the next person speaking. You can just take over that one. Well, I want to, so yes, LSDMCs are critical. It's a really hyper unique local means, again, of Cincinnati's fixation with super specific local governance, but also community empowerment. So that's great. And the fact that we have that mechanism is important. There's a representative from Amberley, Gulf Manor, and Pleasant Ridge. There is not one from Kennedy Heights, my understanding. 3 school representatives, so teachers based off the different grade levels. The principal is technically not one, but kind of serves as the leader. And then I forget what the other, just kind of general, no, the community members are the 3. The teachers, at-large parents and so forth. But open to the public. And so if you're interested in what's happening at Pleasant Ridge or Woodford Academy, you can go there and check that out. Particularly if you have young kids who are about to enter school, AKA me, my 4-year-old will be going into kindergarten in these schools. It's really, that's probably one of the best ways to get a sense of what's happening at the school. We are trying to improve, and we would, again, extend the invitation for our not public school partners, so that's TCP, and that's activity to come be a part of that. We are also in talks of getting a school zone, traffic school for TCP. As you know, TCP. It got approved?
It's happening, but.
That's right, that's right.
Not to mention that.
Okay, so TCP is acquiring more, has acquired more real estate along Ridge, north and south. And so we've been active to try to encourage the city to mark that as an official school zone. Those to be some signage, some lights, and reduce, I think a reduction of speed limit, but also increase fines for any citations in that space. So no in the pavement infrastructure, particularly because of the bridge project, but at least we know that's going to be complementing and helping further reduce traffic. Because as many of you have probably seen, TCP walks student groups up and down Ridge, and they also go over and down to Kennedy Heights Park as well. So we're trying to help improve our communities as well, our school communities. Okay, next up, community happens here.
The loud lady. If you don't know what Community Happens Here is, it is a 501c3 that I started in 2016 because I noticed that even though we had children in the same school connecting with each other, you could get 250 parents in the same room, and guess what? They would nod politely to each other, but not actually connect with each other across all these wonderful diverse differences that we have in our community. And I'm a big extrovert, and I was talking to everybody and everything, and I'm like, we got the kids, why don't we have the parents? So I started a nonprofit called Community Happens Here because we cannot make community in abstract. We must only make it one person at a time talking to each other. Hello, my name is. And so I put myself on the sidewalk in a thing I call sidewalk hospitality, and I bought a building so that I could do it. We ask the community to please support the things we do every Saturday, sidewalk hospitality. We had chess there last time. It's also a space open on a sliding scale to anyone in the community that wants to do something. All they have to do is go to communityhappenshere.org and look on it. Are you a rental or are you a community member? And it has a sliding scale. It's beautiful inside. If you've driven past it 100 times, perhaps this Saturday might be a great time for you to stop in. People are always saying to me, well, what do you have for adults? Well, guess what? You might not have a 3-year-old, but you might be able to talk to another person who does have a 3-year-old. That's kind of like a cross difference. I am just standing in to say, if we do not do it, how can we say anywhere else would do it? If we cannot do it in Pleasant Ridge, where else is it gonna happen? We must make it ourselves. And I have created a whole building, and I ask people to please support. You can support with $10 a month. I always used to have this with Bill Frost. Come have some lemonade. It's free. But he doesn't want to come and have lemonade, but he does come sometimes, and he pays $10 a month as a neighborhood supporter. We don't have a lot of grants. I have given most to make this thing happen, and I would love to have more people coming. We had 45 people of all ages and races and economic backgrounds playing chess with each other on Saturday. If you come, you will be amazed. And it's really how we can begin building our community. This is all great, but it's this way. It's not this way, one person to another. So come have some free coffee, support our Coffee Cup Kids, which I've been doing for 13 years at Pleasant Ridge Montessori. They come and they volunteer. It's really wonderful. So our next thing is Saturday. Our next big thing will be in April, our Easter egg hunt.
Ruth, at what times are Saturdays?
11 to 1. Every Saturday, unless it's a big holiday, we are there 11 to 1. Volunteers come at 10 and leave at 2. They can get Clark service hours. They can get all kinds of service hours. What they do is learn how to do things. This is my mission, or whatever you want to call it, is that each of us, especially children, need a way to do real work and feel real value of their work. And so sometimes that starts with making popcorn. But if there's no one to make popcorn for, they have no worth. So simply by showing up, you can create worth in our community with kids who may never have a chance to do it otherwise. So I urge you, rah, rah, rah. There is no there. There is no one else to do this work. There's no one in the city who's going to help us make a community. Only us can make a community. So why don't you come and try it over a coffee or a tea or a hot chocolate with cream too.
I do feel bad leaving public comment after Ruth Ann. But that we have reached that section of the evening. Again, just to reiterate, 2 minutes. I'll start the timer. It's public comment. It could just be air your grievances, ask for our support. This is 2-minute time for those. Is there any raise of hands of people who are interested? Okay, I see. Yes, Billy, Laura. All right, and Abigail. You, sir, in the back. Can you go forward? Okay. Fifth. Okay. Yes. All right. Please to the microphone.
Should we sign up for efficiency?
You're welcome. Sure. This is new. Cool. You know.
Is this one-on-one?
All right. Again,
I'm
I'll
gonna
be.
make this fast.
Go ahead.
It may not be 2 minutes, but most of you would not have known what happened on Acom Avenue. You probably don't even know where that is. First of all, many of us homeowners reside in what is called an hillside overlay district. Do you know what that is? No, it's very important. If you look, many of us live on the hillside, and if those hillsides are not properly maintained or unwittingly just destroyed, you could lose your house. Everybody must know about Columbia Tusculum. Somebody here several years ago, I almost lost my house. That's why I know. They sent me to the Hillside Trust. If you have not joined this organization, I strongly recommend you do so. City planners will often approve a hillside activity that is inappropriate. They just canceled a big one last August in Kilper Lane, and another one was just shut down. Developers will put it anywhere and they leave, and people have lost their homes. We had a horrible time with an industrial group down below us as they were literally bringing in bulldozers and ripping out all the hillsides up towards our house. And the city sat and sat. We have fought this thing and we have fought this thing. We're now getting it resolved. We stopped the hillside degradation. They literally didn't care. And there were many other violations. We're getting them out of there. But everybody needs to educate about it. There's a big problem in Cincinnati. The hills slide and you can lose your house.
All right, 2 minutes. Hi, everybody. I'm Laura. I'm new to the neighborhood. I moved here last fall, and I'm really happy that we have so much going on. So, I'm an immigration attorney. I've been in immigrant rights and deportation defense for about 12 years now. And I really believe that we can make the biggest difference when we do something hyper-locally, like all of us are doing here. So a bunch of us came together and we created a group we're called the Pleasant Ridge Immigrant Solidarity Alliance, which is PRISA, which conveniently in Spanish means urgent, because we aim to respond urgently to the needs of our immigrant neighbors. And so we had our first meeting last month. It was awesome. 40 people showed up. I nerded out and I talked about your rights with ICE if ICE shows up, and also how you can help support folks, even if you are a citizen, by documenting these things, by making sure that their kids don't end up in foster care, because that happens all the time, by making sure people who are being arrested and taken to ICE detention have their medication on them. And so our next meeting is going to be on February 11th, which is next Tuesday. We're going to be talking about direct action. So we've got a bunch of ideas about things we want to do really, really local in our community so that we're sure that we're keeping everybody safe no matter what their immigration status is. We are meeting at St. Peter's, right? That's what it's called. Okay, thanks. Because luckily, like, we were too big for Community Happens Here, which was amazing. We provide childcare, we have interpretation in Spanish and in English, we have a potluck, and so that way we try to be more accessible to more people. And if you're interested, we have a website now. It's on the back. Well, it's not hyperlinked because it's paper, but you can email me at priscincincinnati@gmail.com and I will send you to our website. We don't post a lot of information online because we want to make sure that we're keeping it safer and not just being like, we're here at this time. If you want to arrest a bunch of people, show up. So talk with me and we'll talk a little bit more, but we have people with really good ideas. And if you're like, I care about immigrants, but there's nothing I can do, that's not true. You can provide childcare, you can do, Barb helped with marketing, whatever it is that you're good at, we got something for you to do.
Thanks.
Oh, well done.
Hi friends, I'm Abigail. I'm also new to the neighborhood. My husband is not though. He was born and bred in Cincinnati. So I'm really excited to be here. I'm here to talk about quiet zones. I don't know if any of you have any idea what that is, but a quiet zone is an area where train crossings with roads have improved safety measures. And as a result, the trains do not have to blow their horns 4 times at every crossing.
Yeah.
Every 20 minutes, 24 hours a day until we all die. Yeah. So I'm really interested in that, living awfully close to some of those crossings. Train safety is also very important to me personally. So if you are also interested in train safety, crossing safety, and noise reduction, I would love to work with some of you to make maybe a little mini committee to talk about how we might explore having the city help us do that. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll hang out like a couple minutes after the meeting today. Come say hi. I've also posted on Facebook, so you're welcome to message me on Facebook as well. And I'd love your comments, your supports, your thoughts. Yeah, that's all I got. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Aunt Flora. I don't know if you've heard of me before, but I know many of you have been walking up and down Montgomery Road or driving by wondering what is going into the space where the old dry cleaners used to be. That's me.
I'm so excited.
I don't know, like I said, how many know about Aunt Flora. We have been around for almost 30 years. We're a family operated company, and we will be having a restaurant bakery there, specializing in a lot of comfort food and a lot of different type of old school desserts, cobblers and pound cakes and things of that nature. But the reason I wanted to come tonight was to let you know, first of all, that that's who we are. We're kind of like rebranding on Flora because our last location was in Northgate Mall. And then when COVID came, we just kind of, phased out. We kind of just searched around the city for a space that we thought would be, comparable for what we was trying to do. And in prayer, we got led to this building. And I hunted down the landlord to find out, how we could take the building over, but it's been gutted. And right now we are going through permits and all that kind of stuff. It's probably going to be another 4 or 5 months before we open. But just to give you a brief background on Flora's is that we are a minority operated company. It's not saying we won't have all minorities in there working, but I'm just letting you know. We have been blessed so much to be on Martha Stewart. We were on Oprah. I did some cooking for them in Los Angeles. We were represented QVC on America's Big Deal. Just a lot of different things. It's mainly my husband and my children. We all do a lot of different, wear different hats, but we will be open to hiring other people that can assist us. And right now we are really in need of some marketing, some social media savvy people, some people that know about the internet and that have you. The kitchen is my area, so I don't even want to learn how to do the rest of it. Because I got enough stuff to do. But I create everything and they pick it up and run with it. But we appear there. We're there. You'll see us there every day. We're not like a business where you don't even know who the owner is or the people don't show up. So just if you want to reply to Aunt Flora's, our email address is auntfloras, there's an S at the end, auntfloras@yahoo.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Please do check out the Pleasant Ridge Business Association, and actually right across the street, Make Do is one of the primary leads of the Pleasant Ridge Business Association, and they're really active. We also are always happy to help out our businesses however we can.
I just want to say one other thing that you might not know. This is Black History Month, but my aunt was one of the women that portrayed Aunt Jemima on the pancake box. She traveled the country as Aunt Jemima. So I use her recipes and basically back in the 1940s. So her recipes.
Welcome. All right, sir, please.
Good evening, everyone. I am Chris Andrews. I'm the owner I was the owner of Barcode, and now I am the owner of Duplex Coffee and Cocktails. So I'm here to introduce myself to everyone, and I guess give you all an update on what we all do, invite you all to the new establishment. So typically in the morning time, we serve breakfast, coffee, and during the 3-4 o'clock time frame, we transfer over into a bar. So if you look for cocktails, more bar food type things, we offer that during the later part of the day. If you was to walk into the establishment, it's typically 2 sides. So the front side, we typically operate. The second side, we do free event rentals. So if you're looking to have a birthday party, wedding reception, funeral repast, we've done baby showers, pop-up shops. So if you're looking for a place to have an event, hold an event, and you don't want to have it at your house, consider us, I guess. I mean, it's free. Now, we do require like a security deposit that you get back at the end of the night. You have to clean up or whatnot. But we're a free event rental center for the community. There are some nights or days where you'll see that we'll have a lot of patrons parking all along Montgomery Road. I guess we've had some issues with that in the past, but it's essentially because when I originally purchased the establishment, we had about 40 to 50 parking spaces along Montgomery Road. They put in the bike lanes in the 2020-2021-ish time frame, and our 40 to 50 parking spaces was reduced to about 6 or 7. So it's hard to have a funeral repast or a wedding reception with 5 parking spaces. So you'll see the customers or patrons spill into the streets like Loud Lane, Swift, Rover Hill. But we're trying to figure out a way to correct that issue now. But if you're looking for a place to have a free event, or you're looking for some coffee, breakfast, or a few cocktails, feel free to stop by and make us your place to be. So,
excellent. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. To that note, I mean, one of the things I think is really pleasant about Pleasant Ridge is, one, our diverse business set. I have often joked that Pleasant Ridge is often a great place to get a drink and a haircut, and then the options kind of
And a tattoo.
And a tattoo. But one thing that is amazing is the diversity of ownership, leadership within our business community.
Can I say one more thing? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
we are also in the process of a liquor license name change to Duplex Coffee and Cocktails from the old Barcode.
Mhm.
And we received an objection. I'm not sure if it's from the Pleasant Ridge Community Council or if it's from the city of Cincinnati. So if you all have any questions for me, I'll leave my number for you. I left my email. Feel free to give me a call, just so we can discuss and try to come to some type of resolution.
Sure. I'll briefly, because I was the one that signed off on that. But it was basically our lack of understanding as to whether the previous agreement from the prior establishment that then warranted the liquor license was going to carry over to the new liquor license. We weren't clear on that. So the only move that we had was for the objection. But we also stated that once we get clarification as to the city and your establishment respecting the original agreement to the new license, we would withdraw the objection. So that was kind of where we were standing. We haven't received a formal stamp of whether that was in the case or not. So that's where we're at as well. So we'll hear from the city, and then I guess they'll contact you about those next steps.
That works, and I'll leave my number so you can contact me with any questions.
Okay.
If I may.
Yes.
Okay.
Go. 2 minutes. But,
Hi, my name is David Lang. I'm with the city solicitor's office, and I represent the city in liquor matters, and that's why I'm here tonight is Mr. Andrews and Duplex Coffee. So the city did have a prior agreement with Barcode. I understand there have been a number of issues, largely surrounding parking. The city objected on the basis of the letter we received from the community council. We're looking to resolve things with Mr. Andrews and Duplex, but obviously we want to have the community's input as to what issues are important to it. The prior agreement was negotiated in the midst of the COVID lockdowns, so some of the things in it aren't necessarily on point. I've had conversations with Mr. Andrews. There's some things that I think he believes makes it operating his business profitably is fairly difficult. So if you'd like to reach out to me, I'll provide my email address and office phone number, and I will be available. But I will need that feedback sometime in the next 2 weeks because we're slated to have a hearing if the objection goes forward on February 21st. Thank you.
21st. Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. Any last call for public comment, input, questions, and the like? Josh, you sure you want to?
No, I was teasing.
All right.
Honestly.
No, you're good. Okay, so our next meeting, first off, I want to give a mad shout out to Michelle, our secretary, for compiling the events. This was an effort of mine that I failed at miserably multiple times, and all of a sudden I turned this page over like, oh, it's beautiful, this, so thank you.
Huge shout out to communications as well.
Group effort.
So-
If they hear about stuff, I hear about stuff, we all just add stuff in.
I mean, first off, getting more bodies in both of these positions was an endeavor, and then to get this accomplished. So thank you for that. Please make sure that, just like the call for communities happens here, our community is only as strong as the people who put together events to the people who then attend events and give the space for us to come together as a community, such as this evening. So thank you all for being here and doing that very thing. All right, our next meeting is March 4th, 7 p.m. It is here. I would love another robust turnout. Oh, yes. We do.
And they are rough because I did them based on the YouTube video.
Oh.
So I missed some things. So I know I did. So.
Okay.
And I do not know who actually seconded and fronted the meeting at the end. So I just made up 2 names. So think about it.
You could have just said like, yeah.
I assume you did it.
All right, is there a motion from the community to approve December's public meeting minutes? All right, so Barb, is there a second? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes to approve the minutes. If there is no outstanding business, and we have, I feel like, extended these meetings 15 minutes every single month that goes by. Is there a motion to adjourn this month's meeting? Motion. Is there a second? Yes, the motion is passed. You can go home. Embrace your loved ones. Enjoy the rest of your evening.